Good morning and welcome to week 1 of the first Time Home Buyer Bootcamp. I'm so excited that you're here and joining me, whether you are on with me live right now or if you're catching the replay. I'm just so happy that you're here and ready to learn more about the process of buying a home. So this is going to be a 6-week video series. It might actually end up going even longer if we have a lot of questions and things to go over. And during this video series, I'm going to kind of break down every step of the way to buying a house. In this very first video today, we are just going to go over kind of a big overview of the home buying process, sort of like where to start and then what to expect along the way. As we go through each week, I'm going to go more in depth each of these steps, kind of give you some tips and tricks for how to avoid some of like the pitfalls that some buyers fall into, and how to make the most of your home sale and have a really successful home buying experience. So thank you so much for joining me, and let's jump in. The very first thing that you want to do when you're ready to buy a home is to set up a consultation with a real estate agent. You can even set up a couple consultations with a couple real estate agents to see who you mesh the best with, but you want to make sure that you're sitting down with somebody, you're having a conversation, you're going over your wants, your needs, your timelines, things like that. And you do also want to make sure that you click with that person, because to be honest, when you're buying a home, you end up spending a lot of time with your real estate agent over the course of that transaction. During the buyer consult, I personally either go on Zoom, with COVID, or we can meet for coffee or cocktail, kind of whatever you're really comfortable with. And we'll be going over all of the questions that I may have to help me figure out how to best help you. We'll also help get you set up for success in terms of getting you connected with a lender and getting you started on your home search. And also we'll go over your timeline and your expectations and how we can work best together. Once we have our home buyer consultation, it'll be time for you to meet with a lender. So I personally only use local lenders, and I know a lot of realtors work the same way. Local lenders will make sure that they're available, so they're not working on banking hours. For example, if you go through your regular bank, they're on 9 to 5. If you need them on a Saturday because you want to make an offer, it's not going to happen until Monday. So I'd be happy to get you connected with one of our local lenders that we know will do a really great job. And you'll submit your pre-approval application, which shouldn't take too long. You're going to have to submit some documents as well so that they have proof of your income. So they'll ask for things like your W-2s. They'll also typically ask for your statements for 30 days from your checking account, your saving account, retirement, or any investments that you have. And then you'll also have to give them some kind of form of ID, just a copy of it or a photo, so they know that you are who you say you are, because they will be pulling your credit and some other kind of sensitive information. And then within 24 to 48 hours, you'll have your pre-approval. I recommend once you start working with a lender and you feel comfortable enough with them to submit your application, you kind of try to stick with them as much as possible through the process, so you're not pulling your credit and working with multiple people, because lenders are a huge part of making the whole transaction of buying a home a real success. In a week or two, I'm actually going to be sharing some tips about how you can make the most of your relationship with a lender, and some of the really awesome programs that we have for first-time home buyers, and other grants and things like that to help you save money on your closing costs. I'm going to take a drink real quick. I don't know if you guys drink seltzer, but I'm a really big fan of this. It's called limoncello, and it kind of tastes like candy, like those like little sour lemon candies. So I love this. So once you're pre-approved, it will be time to start house hunting. With COVID, even more so than before, sellers are not comfortable with non-pre-approved buyers touring homes. So you want to make sure that you have your pre-approval before it's time for you to start taking a tour of any houses. And what I will do is I will set up a portal for you with all of your criteria for your home search. And you can let me know if there's any houses in there or any other houses that you see that you would like to go check out. It's important to give your agent at least like 24 hours notice, typically, for seeing houses. I know sometimes with how hot the market is, we might have to kind of jump on things a little bit sooner, but the more notice that you can give for showings, the better. And you never want to see more than 4 to 5 houses in one day. It sounds crazy, but they all kind of start to get jumbled up in your head, and it can be hard to remember exactly which one you were most interested in. So in a couple weeks, I'll be going over everything you need to know to make sure that you find a house that you love. I'll make sure, that I give you all my tips and tricks, some questions to kind of ask yourself to make sure that when you are ready to make an offer, which is the next step, that you feel really confident and you're really excited about that offer. You're not wondering like, should I have looked at more houses, or am I really ready to move forward on this? So as I mentioned, the next step is that you're making an offer. So when you feel like you found the one and you're ready to make an offer, we will do some research first. So what I mean by that is we're not just blindly typing up offers based on the list price on the MLS. That would be crazy. Instead, we want to actually do some research and I'll find out, are there other offers? How competitive is this house going to be for us to get? Depending on your pre-approval and your type of financing, we might have to be a little bit more competitive, or we may be able to work some other angles to try our very best to get you this house. The market is competitive right now. Inventory is very, very low. So it's extremely important that we do our due diligence when you are ready to make an offer to give you the best possible chance of winning that house. And then sometimes, not always, when you find a house you love and you make an offer, there may be some negotiations and sometimes there may not. So that's another thing that we will look into. If there's multiple offers, there might not be any negotiations. The sellers might just say, hey, we have this great offer, we're gonna go forward with it. And on the other hand, if you find a house that's been on the market for a little bit, the sellers and you may, we may go back and forth a little bit until we all come to terms and agree. And then once your offer has been accepted, you're officially under contract. And as soon as you go under contract, there's kind of a bunch of quick things that really need to happen for us to be able to get the ball rolling really smoothly. So as soon as you're under contract, we are going to have you submit your mortgage application. So that will be done typically within 5 days of getting your offer accepted. You're going to submit your earnest money deposit, which is the deposit that you will pay to show, in good faith that you are prepared to move forward on this house. That deposit will go towards your down payment at the end. We're also going to get your home inspection scheduled ASAP because we want to take care of that contingency as soon as possible. And we're going to get you set up with an attorney or a title company depending on your state. Now, in terms of being under contract, a lot of people ask me like how long until I have my house. This is normally 30 to 45 days. It can vary a little bit, but it's very rare to find something that's going to close less than 30 days after getting under contract. So if you know that your lease ends in 60 days, it's really important, to get out there and get pre-approved and start looking at houses like yesterday to make sure that you get in there in time. If you've been renting for a long time, it's not going to take the same amount of time as finding a rental. Finding a rental, you can sign the lease and then the next day you can move in. With buying a home, we're talking at least 30 to 45 days for you to actually be able to move your stuff in and, call that place your own. And then once we take care of our initial items for being under contract, we need to take care of any contingencies that were in the contract. So this may include things like inspection negotiations. It's going to include an appraisal so that your lender knows that they're accurately valuing the house. They're not kind of over-lending money. If you have a house to sell, in order to buy this house, it would be taking care of getting that house sold. And then, getting your mortgage commitment. So making sure that you're submitting everything you need to submit to your lender so that they can issue what's called the clear to close. And a couple days before closing, we will have the clear to close and we will complete a final walkthrough, which is when we'll walk through the house and just make sure that, nothing crazy has happened in there. You're pretty much getting it in the same condition as when we first saw it, or any inspection requests have been taken care of. And then it will be time for settlement. So as I mentioned, I know that this is an extremely quick overview of the process, but just to give you an idea from start to finish of what you're looking at, these are kind of all the steps that you're going to have to take care of along the way. Each week, as I mentioned, for the next 5 weeks, because this is the first week, I'll be going more in depth into each of these steps and giving you my tips and tricks, kind of going over any of the myths that we hear for home buyers, any of the traps that certain home buyers may fall into, so you can be as prepared as possible when you are ready to buy your home. If you're thinking about buying in the next 6 to 12 months, I highly recommend scheduling a consultation with an agent like ASAP. If you'd like to schedule a consultation with me, I'd love to work with you. And you can either send me a message on here, you can text me, or I'm also going to drop a link for my calendar. You can literally schedule right into my calendar on this link, and we'll have it's set up for a first-time home buyer, or it doesn't have to be a first-time home buyer consultation, and get you all set up for success. If you would like my full home buyer bootcamp guide, again, send me a message on here, or you can drop an emoji or your email in the comments, and I will send that right over to you. Thanks for joining, and I hope you all have a great day. I will see you next week for week 2 of Home Buyer Bootcamp, back here Friday again at 10 a.m. Have a great weekend.